Missile testing in the Middle East leading to mounting tension between the U.S. and Iran. Iran today saying a new shipment of uranium will boost its stockpile beyond the amount it had prior to the 2015 nuclear agreement. This as the country continues to test missiles despite the U.S. sanctions, issuing new sanctions. Vice President Pence saying Iran's defiance could endanger the nuclear deal.
I think the president will make that decision in the days ahead, and he'll listen to all of his advisors. But make no mistake about it, the resolve of this president is such that Iran would do well to think twice about their continued hostile and belligerent actions.
For more now, we go to Walid Phares. He's a Fox News national security and foreign affairs analyst, also former Trump campaign foreign policy advisor. Walid, I want to start with what Vice President just said, that perhaps this Iran could endanger the nuclear deal. Also, President Trump just saying to Bill O'Reilly a little bit earlier, quote, that is the worst deal ever negotiated. So where is that heading?
I think that the president with Bill O'Reilly and the vice president, as we saw right now, are sending a direct message to the Iranian leadership, telling them either you'll stop your own escalation, meaning breaching international law by developing and testing these missiles, and these missiles are not here to send flowers. This is about sending a payload of strategic meaning, which is nuclear and or equal. Or else we are going to be acting against the deal. The president didn't give a clear answer because he wants to keep it to his own. He decides when. But the Iranians understand now where the U.S. position, the new U.S. position is.
And getting back to what Vice President Pence said, saying, quote, make no mistake about it, the resolve of this president is such that Iran would do well to think twice about their continued hostile and belligerent actions. Is this the right tone?
I think this is the right tone for the following reasons. Number one, for too long, the previous administration allowed Iran to do many things for fear that this would impact the nuclear deal. So, you know, the difference between 2009 and 2017 is that Iran is all over the place in the Middle East. They are basically dominating Iraq, half occupying Syria. They have Hezbollah in Lebanon, and they're very active in Yemen. So at least this position by the vice president is to tell them, you are on notice. We understand what you're doing, and these are the lines you cannot cross anymore.
Iran also has the backing of Russia. So, Walid, when you look at allies, what other countries could get dragged into this? And do you foresee this ending up with military involvement?
This is not something that Washington or even the Iranians wants to do, because the Iranians knows the price of engaging the United States and its allies on the military level. But the Iranians are concerned that if we start with this narrative now, and we did, then our allies in the region will be emboldened and will stand firmly, such as Saudi, the Emirates, other members of the Gulf, Jordan, and of course Israel, the traditional ally, but also many opposition movements in the three countries that Iran controls. So they want to respond to our narrative, but they know the risks. So they're not in a very comfortable situation at this point in time.
So that being said, in the immediate future, do you see this de-escalating or escalating?
I think the narratives like missiles, like ballistics, are going to get to a point whereby nobody can move forward except if something happens on the ground. I think the most dangerous or risky area for the Iranians is going to be Yemen, because I don't think they're going to be a challenge in the three countries in the north, Iraq, Syria, and Lebanon at this point in time, especially because of Syria and because of the fight against ISIS. But in Yemen, if the Iranians want to do adventures, this is where they could risk, and not just from the United States.
So do you feel that this is going to, again, sort of calm down sooner than later? And, you know, are we going to keep seeing this tit for tat?
I think that we have moved, Washington, the new administration, moved the political and diplomatic position from -10 to about above 10 points above zero. Now the rest is in the hands of the Iranians. If they're going to continue to escalate, then they're going to force the administration and its allies to counter.
Counter how?
Well, there are many means. It's not just the military means. You have the sanctions on the one hand. You have the isolation of the Iranian regime. You have, remember, now we're going to be speaking with the Russians, and one of the things we could ask the Russians, if they want openings elsewhere, is to put pressure on the Iranians. So the Iranians have an ally, but it's not a certainty that this ally is going to help them all the way, all the time.
Definitely entangled for sure. Walid Phares, thank you very much for your analysis, and we'll see you again.
Thank you.